I respectfully acknowledge Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples, the world's oldest educators and the traditional custodians of the land on which this podcast was recorded, Darkinjung country, surrounded by the beautiful Booty National Park, Brisbane Water and Putty Beach. The land we learn, teach, play and walk upon always was and always will be Aboriginal land. Teaching is one of the most rewarding vocations, yet great teachers are burning out and leaving the classroom in record numbers. Welcome to the PDHPE and CAFS podcast with your host, Kel Bell. This podcast empowers busy New South Wales teachers of PDHPE, CAFS and HMS to teach with confidence, clarity and ease. I understand the challenges of teaching because I've lived them. With more than 2 decades in education, I've journeyed from classroom teacher to becoming New South Wales' trusted voice in PDHPE, community and family studies and health and movement science. Together with leading experts and teachers just like you, we're here to help you reclaim your afternoons, weekends and holidays through practical resources, supportive memberships and powerful professional learning. Ready to reclaim your time? Access your classroom-ready PDHPE, CAFS and HMS tools at thelearnnet.com/tools. So grab a cup of tea or coffee and let's chat about creating impact in your classroom without burning out in the process.
Hello and a huge welcome back to the PDHP and CAFS podcast. It has been a little while that we've been super busy behind the scenes, that we haven't done a live podcast like this, just with me, a solo episode. So huge welcome. I hope that you are well, and I know that at the time of recording, we are in week 6 of term 2, and we are so close to the HSC for health and movement science for the very first time. And this conversation today has stemmed from lots of chats and emails and messages that I've been fielding about HMS and preparing our kids for the HSC. So it is just very timely to have this conversation because teachers are under the pump. We're doing so much already. And I think the CI has been something that has really been keeping a lot of teachers up at night thinking about how is this going to help prepare my kids for Year 12. So hopefully today you will gain quite a few little gems that you can kind of take away, put in your pocket, ready to either implement this year or potentially next year with Year 11. So a quick recap, we know that the CI is compulsory. It's mandatory across New South Wales and we can't get away from it. We have to do a CI. We don't have to assess it though. So don't forget, at the end of 2024, NESA didn't make it like a big thing, but they put in some of their communication that they were streamlining assessment across New South Wales, both Year 11 and Year 12. This has had a massive impact on everything, every single Stage 6 course, not just HMS, not just CAF. So it basically, in a nutshell, 2.1 and 2.2 stated that schools have the flexibility to assess what they want, to weight each task or to have as many tasks or as little tasks as they want. There's a lot of flexibility now. So although the CI, it was originally in our syllabus that we had to assess it, schools don't have to anymore. But that doesn't mean that we're not assessing this 20-hour investigation that is part of our coursework. Like, I think it would be stupid to not assess the CI at your school. If you're spending so much time on it anyway, it's really important that you look at your assessment schedule and go, is that the best use of time? Is that the best decision to not actually assess it? So we are encouraging our HMS members to assess the CI, and for CAFS members to assess the IRP still, because it still holds such weight in our courses. So if you are a HMS teacher and you're like, I don't know where this is going to fit in everything, I want you to step back and take a really long, hard look at your assessment schedule for next year even, and think about where is the best position to place a CI. Now, I would potentially say it's probably your second task. Task 1, get the kids to kind of feel their feet. You get to know them, you get to see how they write, then make some changes in class, maybe the way you present content, maybe the way you assess the kids, maybe the way you incorporate formative assessment. And then go, well, maybe the CI is best placed as our second task. It then gives us enough time to kind of, assess the kids for them to do it. And that's not so time bound towards the end of the Year 11 course. Our members have told us that they've been kind of pushing it right to the last minute into term 3, then putting pressure on the kids to then have that assessment and then also their yearly exam. So I think it's best placed as a second task, and I would actually assess it. I know not all schools have gone down that path, but it's their 20 hours of course time. We need to assess that 20 hours. Anyway, that's just an aside. So today is really about making better decisions about what we're actually focusing on for our CI, because I've seen a lot of teachers focusing on these really airy-fairy topics. The kids have chosen them or they haven't given much guidance. And I really want you to sit back and go, is our CI really preparing our kids for the end game, which is the HSC in my eyes? Yes, it's part of research. Yes, it's collaboration. Yes, it's great. But also, we have an obligation to prepare our kids for the HSC. We need to make our IRP very, very strong and strategic to make sure we're actually embedding that content and that skill of relating that Year 11 coursework to Year 12 coursework. So this has stemmed from conversations that I've had with our members at our K-10 forum. We had quite a few HMS teachers there, emails, messages. I honestly get, I reckon, 2 or 3 emails a week about the CI. So we developed a whole series of resources for our HMS members to help tackle this exact thing. And I thought it might be a good idea to offer it to you as well in a podcast form, because we're there kind of swimming away trying to, keep up. But I think we need to step back from the HMS course and go, is there a smarter way to work this? So I've developed 8 different ways that you can assess the CI or incorporate the CI into your class and make it a lot more strategic, connecting to Year 12 content. So I've gone like 4 areas of focus area 1, 4 areas of focus area 2. If you're a HMS member, you'll know that there's that big kind of mapping document. I think we also offered it as a freebie last year. That's great to kind of see what connects from Year 11 to Year 12. So I want you to step back and think about, where can I connect our Year 11 content to our Year 12 content in HMS? And then go, could that potentially be our CI that we decide to focus on in school? Because I've seen a lot of things happening in schools that the kids are, they go off and do their own thing. And you look at the CI and go, hang on, this is this is off track, or this hasn't hit the mark. We need to facilitate this process. Our kids are 16 and 17-year-old students. They need guidance, like with the CAFS IRP that I have been singing this song for, a very long time. We need to work with the kids with the CI. We can't just let them go and do what they want. So let's talk about the topics that I have been thinking about in relation to connecting Year 11 to Year 12 content. So if we kind of go focus area 1 and we look at the determinants of health and health inequities, a potential focus question could be, how does socioeconomic status influence the physical activity levels and health behaviours of young people in the local community? Now, it depends what path you want to take with this. If you want to really go strong on your primary research, which is firsthand, as the researcher, the kids are going to do that research, either through interviews, case studies, observations, or questionnaires, then that is like a topic that would be very good for that. The kids could interview each other. They could interview other kids that they know in their age, that kind of thing. Or you go down the path of having a CI that is very secondary research based, which means you're going to recall and use like research studies that have already been done. That's what secondary data does. So it depends on what kind of, what path you want to take, but it's working out a way, does my focus area, like my content, my focus question actually enable us to do that research? Because I've also found that as well. Schools will have these really great ideas, but then gone, oh, we don't have the facilities to do that. We don't have the facilities with the VO2 max or to do any fitness testing at school. So then they can't do that. They have to change it. Okay. I'm going to say out loud, focus area 1 does lend us to that a lot, that we can do lots of primary research. We can focus it on young people because that's what that focus area, especially the key inquiry question 1, focuses on. Anyway, the next one that you could potentially focus on is mental health and young people. So what protective factors most effectively support the mental health and help-seeking behaviours of young people in Australian schools or in our community? Whatever path you're going to take, work out where does this strategically connect to our Year 12 content. It could even be a health issue. And this is what my suggestion was to a couple of our members. And I then went down the path of creating this really comprehensive set of resources for them, like a research guide for this particular focus, as well as like a practical CI guide for them. Anyway, that's for members at this stage. So we looked at like a health issue because it connects to Year 12 content. And then we said, well, how about you actually make that your focus for your CI so you can then connect that Year 12 content at that point of instruction with the CI. So they then did that. So they made their focus on, I think it was looking at a health issue, which connects to Year 12 content. But then we made it relate to the Year 11 content through young people. So I think we looked at injuries as being one because it's then comes up again in Year 12. It could be about diseases, whatever connection you're trying to make, see how you can best fit it for Year 12. The next focus area, content question was related to epidemiology. So again, we know that the research crosses across both Year 11 and Year 12. So again, making a connection to to Year 11 students or young people. What is the relationship between daily screen time and self-reported sleep quality, physical activity levels, and overall well-being in young people or Year 11 students? Again, we need like the subjects, we need our sample, we need to be able to have access to those people, that particular age group. So it could be looking at our Year 11s and they're part of the research, or it could be, if we're in a high school, all of our high school kids, or maybe local high schools in the area. It just depends. Okay, the last one I thought for focus area 1 is around technology. We know big data comes up a lot now in Year 12, and then there's a whole lot of, technology kind of connection. And this could potentially cross over into focus area 2. So it's how do digital health apps, this second part is more about focus area 2, but how do digital health apps and wearable technology influence the health behaviours and physical activity levels of young Australians or young people in our community? Whatever you're going, like whatever path you're going to take, if you're going young Australians, you have to then broaden your horizons and do research on people outside of your community, or it could just be in the Blacktown area on the Central Coast. So then the kids can do research on those people. That's if you want to go down the path of doing primary research. You don't have to do primary research for your CI. You could just solely rely on articles that have already been published by academics and researchers in these particular areas. It is totally up to you. The big picture here is sitting back from the Year 11 and 12 HMS course and going, where can I work smarter with this content? And if you're a CAFS teacher, I have been sharing this a lot over the last probably 12 or so years. How can you work smarter with it? That strategic approach to the CI. Anyway, okay, focus area 2. So we know that it's training for improved performance and the body and mind in motion. This one is a little bit more difficult to do primary research on. However, members like Carly Matthews shared at our HMS Summit last year, and I think she's going to focus on something a little bit similar, not similar, but in the same kind of connection with the depth studies. But looking at your kids, looking at your equipment, looking at your school facilities, going, can I actually bring this to life? Can I actually do this focus question? Because if you can't, there's no point in making it, your topic if you can't actually conduct the research. So you really need to like step back and go, is this possible? Yes, great. Or can I modify it? I don't have to have the biggest and best technology, exercise science equipment at our school, but I can modify this. And that's certainly what Carly shared last year. Okay, the first one is around physiological responses to aerobic training. So what is the effect of a structured 6-week aerobic training program, so connecting the content, on the resting heart rate, so that's that physical response, and even adaptations and cardiovascular efficiency of young people, or year 11s, or of 12 to 18-year-olds, 12 to 25-year-olds. It's totally up to you. But can you actually get them, can you actually conduct that research? Or it could actually be going into the data, into the research and going, well, we're going to modify our question because we just don't have the facilities at our school or the equipment, or even maybe the lack of knowledge to conduct a research project on that, a CI around that. The next one is around more about like an amateur athlete. So motivation, dropout, and long-term participation in sport. I think this might be quite good to look at, like what motivational factors most significantly influence sustained participation in organised sport and physical activity among young people. That might be really timely for you guys at your school. You might see that dropout rate in rep sport at your school, or even participation in Year 9 and 10. So you could even do something around that, looking at your context and going, who do I have, which is our subjects or our sample? What facilities do we have? What resources do we have at our school to then bring this CI to life? And if you make it more, I suppose, more relatable, connecting to your context, the kids will have better buy-in because it's relating to their life. It's relating to their world. Yes, there might be some bias in there, some research bias, but the kids can talk about that in their final product. The next one is around fitness testing and validity and equity. How appropriate and valid is insert test, beat test, whatever it is, as a measure of aerobic fitness across different genders and activity levels amongst young people. Again, it needs to be so specific because you're going out to actually conduct this research, or you're seeing if there is literature about that particular topic, and then you're going to create your your CI around that. The last one is a little bit connected to the first one in what I said about focus area 1, but technology, wearables, and performance monitoring. How accurately do consumer fitness trackers measure heart rate and energy expenditure during moderate to high intensity exercise compared to manual and clinical measurement methods? For me, I'd be like, I don't have any information about manual and clinical measurement methods, but I could tweak that question and look at wearable devices. If you have a cohort that has a big group of CAFS kids in there that you also do social impact of technology, great crossover. Talk to your CAFS teacher, or you could be the CAFS teacher as well, and that could then be your IRP in Year 12. You can make those little strategic connections from Year 11 to Year 12 HMS, or even to CAFS if you can. Work smarter with this. This is mandatory. The IRP is mandatory. We know that. The CI is mandatory. A lot of schools have chosen not to assess it. And I'm saying, and I'm advocating alongside Nessa, saying, do it because it's 20 hours of course time. You may as well assess the kids on this. It's such a big chunk. It doesn't have to be, but I would actually assess it. So I really want you to sit back and think about your CI and how you've rolled it out. You might be in the second wave of the CI. You might be about to embark on the CI with your kids, but I want you to just take some time with it. Check out all the resources in our HMS Google Drive if you are a member. And if you're not, you know where to find us. The HMS membership is always open. We're always adding resources to it. It's not just like a one-off thing going, I've got all the resources I need for HMS. It's ever changing, like as this is, this has changed. We're adding things all the time. So the learnnet.com/HMS is our website link. But it's just sitting back and kind of going, how can I work smarter with all of this? Because it's here. We have to assess it. We have to make it part of our coursework. We don't have to assess it. But we may as well maximize what we're doing. Every single step, every single decision you make in HMS has to have a strategic connection. And I think to year 12, take your time with it. If you don't have time, have a conversation. Send us an email and say, hey, Kel, I'm thinking about this. What do you think? Do you have any resources that could help me with this? So these conversations stem from other HMS members. The two members I'm thinking of are fairly new to stage 6, but also very experienced HMS, HSC, PDHP teachers going, I don't know where to go with this. Do you have any suggestions? And this was literally like just a very quick brainstorm I had. We do have a lot more links inside our HMS Google Drive, and we've created a document for you guys for this episode. So if you want to head to thelearnnet.com, so our website, thelearnnet.com/CI, I'll give you a copy of these focus questions, connections, as well as a stronger description that you can use in class. And I would highly recommend you're the captain of this ship. You steer it in the direction that you want for HMS. Don't leave it to the kids. They don't know. They're not researchers. They haven't been to university. They're not educators. You are. If you would love any support in HMS, we are literally only an email away. Please contact us. Or you can, if you're watching back on YouTube or Spotify, please comment and ask a question about the CI. Honestly, we get so many questions every week about the CI. But if you would love resources that are going to save you so much time in all of the preparation, all of the planning, all of the assessing with the CI, you can join us inside the HMS membership. And you can head to thelearnnet.com/ getting tongue-tied, HMS to check it out. Honestly, we have so many resources in there that we have added. Even if your membership has expired, the resources we've added to it and the level of support we're providing is next level. You can send in your student responses and say, Kel, can you please have a read of this? I've never done HSC marking. I don't know what to guide my kids on. Can you check their work? Yes, of course. I would love to see some life skills report comments. Yes, of course. We made that happen 2 weeks ago. I would love to have access to a half yearly for HMS. Yes, we made that happen. I would love to have access to a trial and not have to, pay for multiple copies. Yes, we're making that happen. So you are not alone in HMS, although you might have been through the first, 2 rounds of it. We're about to sit the HSC for the first time this year. Do not spend your afternoons, your weekends and your holidays reinventing the wheel, because we are doing it. And if we haven't, you can just ask the question, wave the magic wand. Kel, do you guys have this in the HMS membership? No, not yet. But, lo and behold, here it is the next day. Again, like I said, we have created some resources for the CI around this episode. So the learnnet.com/CI is where you can head to download those. But again, any questions about HMS, please let us know. Have the most fabulous week. And if you would love to join us in person, our HMS Summit, second year this year. Last year was just so bloody good. I'm just going to say that out loud. 65 HMS teachers. We had teachers emailing us for weeks after for tickets. We only have 65 available and 20% have already been pre-sold. So the HMS Summit is next term, week 2. But you can head to thelearnnet.com/summit to join us in person. Practical applications, experts, teachers, and an amazing venue to bring HMS to life. Anyway, hope you have a great week. If you need anything, let us know. Take care.
This episode was brought to you by the K-6 Primary and 7-10 PDHP memberships, the CAFS Collective, and the Health and Movement Science membership. Our communities designed to support and empower busy teachers like you. Explore them along with a suite of helpful teaching tools at thelearnnet.com. If you've loved today's episode, don't keep it to yourself. Share with a colleague, take a screenshot and tag me on Instagram at kellybell.coach. I love seeing what resonates with you. Make sure you subscribe to Apple Podcasts or Spotify to stay connected. And if you took even one thing away from today's chat, I'd be so grateful if you could please leave us a review. See you next week. Here's to finally reclaiming your time as a busy New South Wales teacher.